ignore it at your own peril, but the presence of MS Dhoni as captain seems to have rejuvenated Chennai, seems to have given them some sort of shot in the arm, because they certainly didn't look like this team for the entire tournament till now. Whether they won, whether they lost, they just seem to have a spring in their step. Led, of course, by Ruturaj Gaikwad. Remember him? The guy with 5 consecutive failures. We were wondering, is this the same Gaikwad? That's the same Gaikwad. 99 of 57. We remember him from last year and the year before last. And a little change in the batting order. That's another Dhoni special, perhaps. Devon Conway comes in 85 not out of 55 deliveries. And Chennai finished with 202 for 2 in their 20 overs. Wow. That's all we can stop for a moment and say wow. Of course, the match isn't over. It's a great wicket. Hyderabad are a chasing side. They could get it. But for the moment, here on Cricbuzz Live in the company of Michael Vaughan and Lisa Sthalekar, let's celebrate the return, shall we say, of the Chennai team as we know it. Lisa, it's just, whatever you might, some people will say, listen, you can't just give credit to Dhoni for everything. But at least Chennai as a unit look different.
They do. And you guys picked it early, didn't you? That they'd probably go with an international opener and a domestic player. And Gaikwad, who we know and love from previous editions, has managed to kind of play his best cricket. And that opening partnership, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. When you look at a lot of teams, including Chennai, they have really struggled to get even outside of the power play. But these guys just were able to pile on the runs. The right-left-hand combination worked really well. 182 runs off 107 deliveries. Just outstanding striking. They got some loose deliveries, and they made sure they put away, but some really classy cricket shots as well.
I loosely heard a stat, Michael, which we will confirm at some point. When they reached about 111 between Gaikwad and Conway, the entire sum total of all their opening partnerships in the season thus far were less than that amount.
Yes. No, it was great to watch. They combined nicely, two different players, obviously left hand, right hand, but different styles of players as well. As players and as batters, Lisa will tell you as well, you sometimes arrive and realise that the wicket's pure. Washington Sundars walked off, so they know that they're going to have to try and find 4 overs from somewhere. You've got to make hay. And that's exactly what that partnership did. They just played good, strong cricket shots. There was no, tricks or flicks. It was just real high quality striking of a cricket ball. And, that's exactly what you have to do when you get that opportunity to play on such a good pitch, fast outfield against an attack that was missing a key bowler. And they made hay. And whether it's MS Dhoni or not, it's the story. So we might as well say it's MS Dhoni that's made them play like that.
And of course, the record that we're talking about, ironically, so many records seem to have a touch of irony with them. The record that was there was 185 between someone from the opposition, Pesto, David Warner, Lisa. So it just seems apt when you're going to match that or beat it, that you do it against that side.
Yeah. And Sunrisers will go, okay, it was a decent pitch. We can hit through the line, get off to a good start. You never know what is capable. But yeah, I love how you guys come up with all sorts of ways of linking everything. All of those people in the background stuff, finding, Googling, tweeting. It's great.
Yeah, we seem to see this a lot in football because it seems to happen so often. Somebody is playing and he used to play for that particular franchise when he was a youngster, and now he's coming up against them for the first time. But in cricket, well, we've seen it happen here today. Interesting one to continue the Dhoni discussion for a moment, Michael, just to see him stride out there. In earlier matches, whether he succeeded or didn't succeed, we didn't see him showing intent and walking out like that with his chest wide open. He did that today.
Yeah, but maybe that, he's the captain, he can do what he wants. When you're not the captain, you've got to wait for the captain to say that you're in. And MS Dhoni went back to what we've seen him do for many, many years, that, the platform's set, the foundation is there for him. He just strolled out there. That's exactly what we're used to seeing. I like the fact that he took Jadeja out there as well. I like that. I just think that there's a little bit of man management that you're trying to bring a little bit of life and a bit of joy into a player that's just stepped down from the captaincy. So everything so far perfect, but it is a good pitch. It's a good pitch. And I'll mention Bhubaneswar Kumar's figures are 4 overs for 22. He didn't get a wicket, but to only go for 22 and he's bowled real key overs at key times, a remarkable return from Bhubaneswar.
Yeah, those couple of wickets were a bonus really for Natarajan, but they probably would have missed Washington Sundar a little bit. I'm not sure if it would have made a huge difference, but certainly his presence adds a dimension to the bowling attack, Lisa.
Yeah, I mean, and it's concerning for him moving forward as well, especially if he's redone the webbing, and how bad is it? Is he out for a longer period? We're getting closer to finals. Washington Sundar is a key cog in Sunrise's kind of elevation from poor start to climbing the ladder nicely. So they'll be hoping that there's not too much damage and they'll see him at the later on in the tournament. But yeah, he was missed today. I thought at one stage maybe Kane Williamson might, roll the arm over and throw down a few little offies, something really left field in that sense. He has picked up a few wickets. I don't know if he's picked up any wickets in the IPL, but I've seen him throw down a few offies in Test cricket at least.
Lisa, you do know Kane's had a suspect action, and you saying he's going to throw down a few.
Oh, right. Wait, 14.5 degrees, isn't it?
Something like this. It's well beyond my pay grade to work that out. Put it this way, I wouldn't mind facing Kane, so he should be allowed to bowl.
Yeah, he has 30 wickets in T20 cricket, and it wouldn't have been a bad matchup because he had a left-hander out there and a left-hander I think he would know a little bit about in Devon Conway.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good thought. Yeah, just a little thing. I mean, when you lose a bowler like Washington Sundar, you've got to try and create something. It probably would have taken one of the other players to go and remind Kane that he bowls as well. Because he's probably thinking about all the kind of different dimensions of what he's trying to achieve. And it usually takes one of the other players to say, why don't you bowl yourself? And maybe he's not got that camaraderie in the side just at the minute to be able to get to that.
Yeah, well, that's no matter what Kane didn't end up bowling. He tried to use his regular bowlers. He had to get Shashank Singh in at one point in time. No Washington Sundar and Umran Malik. Well, after all his heroics, a 5 in a losing cause, but still man of the match, comes and bowls 4 overs for 48, which was the kind of spell that we saw him early on. Raw pace, but I think on a good surface like this, they played him well. They used the pace and they got those fabulous boundaries away. But yeah, that's as far as this match is, or the first half of this match is concerned. Hyderabad will have to tell themselves it's a good pitch. I mean, they like chasing, probably don't want to chase more than 160, 170 typically, Michael. But on that surface, they will say, listen, let's go out and do it. I mean, why not?
Yeah, I think throughout the IPL, we've been saying that the Sunrisers are a 170 kind of team, 170 to 185 team. Go and prove us wrong. Go and get over 200, chase down the target. And I think if they did that, I think it would only not just send a message to the rest of the teams in the competition, but I think it'd give themselves a massive boost because in a team what you're good at. You know that you're a 220 team. Not many are 220, but you've got the capabilities to get to that. But the Hyderabad team, because they're so together and they all kind of play their roles strategically, they know they're that kind of side. So if they can get over the line or get within a whisper of this chase, it should give them a big boost to know that in the last 2 games, they got 194 in the last game. If they can get close to this target and get beyond it, well, I think it'll give them a huge confidence boost and send a message to the other teams that they can get that big score.
The only thing is that they may be without Washington Sundar, so a batter down. So that's going to dent them a little bit. Hopefully, it frees Kane Williamson in the sense that he goes, look, yes, I can bat time, but I've just got to probably be really calculated with some of the risks that I want to take. Who do I want to target? What end do I want to target? And hopefully that will just loosen the shackles for him.
Well, who are they going to target? Let's have a look at the Chennai bowling before we look back at the previous game. And if you have a look at this, Mukesh Chowdhury has been good. Mahesh Theekshana has provided a bit of that mystery. Pretorius always solid. but there are a couple of little chinks in there. There's no DJ Bravo, Michael, so it'll be a different look, but MS Dhoni's in charge. Everyone's a champion here.
Yeah, and he'll making sure that he tells them that they're all champions as well. I'd target Jadeja. I'd go after the ex-captain and try and put him under pressure. Santner, two similar kind of bowlers. One's a bit taller, obviously two left armers, but there didn't seem to be much spin. It was almost skidding on. So, when you're chasing 200, you can't really pick and choose who you target. You've got to target them all. You've got to say, we've got to get off to a fly. You don't chase down just over 200 and only have 35 in the power play. You need to get to beyond 50. You need that platform. You need the foundation. And a individual will need a big score. One individual will at least have to get 75 plus it's going to get anywhere close to this target.
Well, this is not the only match. We are also going to look at the previous game, and specifically we want to target or single out an individual, and that is our Omnigel relief and recovery performer of the match. And the person we are talking about is Mohsin Khan. It was a good fight between him and his captain. Not only gives relief, but also recovery from pain. No dud for fans. And you definitely have no dud for fans if you're going to put on a performance like this, Lisa. 4 wickets at a time when, yes, Rahul had set the platform, but suddenly Rishabh Pant, Rovman Powell, they were going for it. They needed someone. They needed a soothing balm, and they found it.
Yeah, he's actually come in and had an amazing impact, hasn't he, straight away. And just the raw pace that he has, but also the tricks. He's not a one-trick pony in that sense, and has been able to execute, and just something a little bit different to what, the other oppositions have seen. So credit to him. I think it's wonderful to watch him bowl full flight, and I don't think we're going to see the last of him in this tournament.
2 factors, Michael. It wasn't an easy pitch to bowl on for bowlers, plus the fact that the batters were in full flow, and you had some pretty hard strikers of the ball. So he really had to come to the party with technique and temperament.
Yeah, and he got the key wickets. I mean, Rishabh was looking like the Rishabh that we know today, and he got one to go through him. By the way, some of that homage I could do with that. I've got a dodgy back. If you could get a box of it to me, that'd be marvellous. Left armour quality. They're just on a bit of a roll look now, aren't they? They're just starting to get something nicely going. There's a little bit more in terms of the batting, more contributions, and some nice kind of combinations starting to arrive with the ball in hand. So, a nice day. Does he get a bit of that gel as well? Does he for getting the player of the match?
Well, he certainly should. I suspect that when, as a bowler, I don't know about batters, I don't want to be biased over here, Michael, with Michael around, but and we've got an off-spinner in the house, but as a fast bowler, which we don't have on the panel at the moment, I think they would probably like a little bit of that in the dressing room. Certainly, Mohsin Khan deserves every single bit of that. Yes, indeed. Mohsin Khan was our Omnigel relief and recovery performer of the match. Omnigel is India's #1 pain recovery gel brand. No third for fans. Well, what a victory that was for Lucknow. Delhi looked like they were getting close, and it took a very special individual to come and turn things around there. Helped, of course, by the platform set by Captain KL Rahul. Crucial points there for Lucknow. We will, at the end of our entire day, look back at the points table and see what it's done for Lucknow and Delhi. What it's done for Lucknow hasn't done for Delhi. And then, of course, what it possibly might do. Actually, let's have a quick look at it before we get out. We'll look at it again at the end. And this is the significance. Delhi sit tight on 8. It was a big match for them. They needed those 2 points. And Lucknow got up to 14 points. Just imagine the 2 new franchises. 1 on 16, 1 on 14. Chennai, of course, it's not going to be as significant for them unless they dent Hyderabad's chances of getting to 12 points. Well, that's where we have that previous game. But as far as this one is concerned, action underway, Michael. We were just off the mark, I think, just about. What was the highest prediction we had in there? We had a 190, didn't we? From either you or...
I went 176.
Yeah. And you were lower.
I was even lower. I wasn't even in contention. So, which means, given the fact that they've got over 200, we probably need a little power play prediction for Hyderabad. They need to go hard. How hard, Michael? 40, 50, 55?
I'm going to go 51.
51? Yeah, sort of a middling kind of number. And Lisa?
43.
Ooh.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. Just 43. I'll go for about 58. That will be my prediction for the day. But just to finish off, since we've mentioned Lucknow very briefly over there, and we've talked about how they won it, let's just get a quick thought from each of you on Delhi's chase, because how well they were playing, and then we just had the little moment over there, Lisa, Akshar Patel. And at the other end, you had Kuldeep Yadav showing that he can bat, hits a 6 and a 4. And then Akshar says, listen, I'm the only one who can finish it. Could a little moment like that have even cost them?
Yeah, I think it did, to be honest. And I would have been disappointed if I was Kuldeep, first delivery of Stoinis, I whack it out of the ground for 6, and then you don't think I can do it again. So, it's a bit frustrating. And no doubt, I reckon Ricky Ponting would have spoken about that there has to be some level of trust with the tail enders. I don't think Delhi is a side where they need to just, have a pinch hitter that just hogs the strike and there's those dot balls. So I think they missed a trick. But you've got to sometimes fail to learn some crucial lessons, and maybe they won't make the same mistake again.
Yeah, sometimes you look at a scorecard, and when you look at a margin of defeat, Michael, as 6 runs, you tell yourself, just 1-6 somewhere, could we have covered it? So maybe are we being a little too harsh on that particular last over? There could have been a 6 in the 16th over.
I'd go miles back and look at Mitchell Marsh. The way that he was playing, and he just walked off. He didn't even hit the ball. He didn't review it. I was like, Mitchell, what you're doing, you've just suddenly shown everyone in India exactly how you can play. You're playing great. And that was a turning point to me. He was 37 from 20, striking the ball to all parts. He was in a real prominent partnership. And that kind of just stumbled the momentum. If he'd have batted another 4 or 5 overs, I don't even think we'd have been talking about the last over. He strikes it that hard and that far. It's very Mitchell Marsh. Lisa, am I right? Mitchell, if someone's going to walk off and be caught behind, but not be caught behind, he's still good. It's almost if he walked off and he forgot he could review.
Yeah. I actually think there was a sound. And so he genuinely felt that he hit it. So as soon as the finger went up.
You still got to give it that.
No, do you? If you hit it? If you actually think you've hit it, do you actually take a review and burn one? I don't think you do. So I think he did the right thing based on what he thought he did. Now, this is where we need to probably add an addition of a hotspot. And Gautam and I were talking about it, because sometimes it shows you some players don't know they've hit it and some players do know they've hit it. And so I don't know if the technology is 100% accurate. That's all.
Yeah.
I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. I know you want to put the boot into him because he's a bit like that, Mitch Marsh, but that's okay. I know where you're going.
It makes for a good discussion, because I can understand maybe, Michael, if we have one of those LBW reviews where you're wondering, did you not see that you nicked it? I mean, that you can't always be sure. But in this case, we certainly heard it on real time. He probably just thought, oh my God, he threw his head back going, what have I done? Rather than saying, have I nicked that? I don't think he was never any doubt. But
he was in no doubt. I mean, the one thing, when I used to play, the bats weren't quite as big, so you always kind of knew that you'd hit it. Whereas now the bats are so wide. I honestly think there are times where it feathers the outside edge, and because there's such big chunks of wood, they're not quite. I'm absolutely adamant. Every time I played, I knew when I'd hit the ball. But I do think now, if you pick up some of the bats these days, they are so big and chunky that you could get to a stage where you're not sure as a player.
Well, final thought, Delhi. I've got an uphill task now. We mentioned that at the start, that if they weren't to progress to double figures, it's going to be very difficult for them. They have 5 games left now. They win all 5, they get to 18 points. All 5. So, Lisa, that's going to be tough. I mean, they really need to put the hammer down and say, okay, all 5 gets us to 18, and that is probably going to be the cutoff.
Yeah, the good thing that's in their favour is that net run rate. They've actually got the best net run rate out of all of the teams. So if they were to be tied on points and they've won and they keep that net rate going to a certain position, then they should be fine. But you don't want to leave it to chance, do you? You want to be the creators of your own destiny. So they just need to focus on the next match. Don't worry about the 5. Just focus on the next one, then the next one, then the next one.
Yeah, Michael, your thoughts on Delhi, because you do want
leaving it
margin
too
for
late.
error.
Leaving it too late. I just don't think they're. I mean, they are a team that can get on a roll, but they're leaving it late. They're going to have to get onto some kind of magnificent roll from here, because I just don't see them playing well enough. They don't have enough individuals in fine form.
And today they had a situation where, well, they were playing really, really well and they were undone. That is as far as that match is concerned. But we will see you, of course, in the progress, in the hunt for this massive run chase from the men in orange. How will they go after 10 overs? We'll be there to tell you on Cricbuzz Combox. For now, from Michael, Lisa and myself, that's all we have on Cricbuzz Live.